As an alignment coach, I get some version of this question all the time. What do you do when you have the desire to achieve something and you know how to make it happen, but the motivation to do the work just isn't there? And in a way, this is so common. We all experience this, but we also tend to judge ourselves for it. So, what do we do about this? And I feel like so much of what's out there about motivation is either giving you all these steps to take to build your motivation, which almost defeats the purpose because if you're not feeling motivated, you don't want to do all that extra work. Or they're telling you that you don't need to be motivated to take action. And technically, that's true. But motivation is really helpful for your energy. And as you know, when you bring your best energy, you get your best results. So maybe it's not quite as complicated as we've made it. And today I want to walk you through 3 ways you may be able to dial in your motivation and feel better about the work you're doing and how it's moving you toward your goals. The first thing you need to look at is whether you have the clarity to be motivated. Motivation is highly personal. It's tied into what you value, and the rewards are outcomes that matter to you, that would fulfill or satisfy you. If you're finding that you know your goal, you know how to get there, and you're still not motivated, you're probably missing the most basic level of clarity, which is clarity on what you need to do today to lead you toward that goal. So a great example is job searching. Tons of people have a goal to find a new job. Maybe they hate their current job, or maybe they just want to grow, but they have a deep desire to move their career forward. But then it comes time to actually do the work, and maybe they're a little bit unclear on exactly how to do that. They're unclear on what conversations they have, how to explain what they're looking for, how to articulate what they bring to the table in a compelling way. And the more you can build that clarity between the steps you're going to take today and how they're going to lead you toward your ideal job, how they're going to move your career forward, the more you're naturally going to be motivated. So here's the challenging piece is you don't necessarily know exactly what steps to take because you don't know exactly how it's all going to work out. And that brings me to the second point. Can you accept uncertainty? So again, in order to feel motivated, we generally need to understand how our hard work is going to pay off. Most things in life are just not so clear. We're not making widgets here. We're not building a Lego set where if you follow these instructions and you have all these exact pieces, you are going to wind up with a Lego Millennium Falcon or whatever you're building. That's just not how most of our goals are. And so we need to develop a relationship with uncertainty where we can strengthen the connection between the work we're doing now and the outcome we're hoping for without requiring guarantees in order to move forward. Now, here's what I want to remind you of. You have come this far without a single blessed guarantee. You know how to do this. You know how to navigate uncertainty because everything you've accomplished up until this point has been done without any guarantee that any of it would pay off. And yet here you are, and you have done so many things worth talking about, so many worthwhile things. So you know how to navigate this. Again, it's just about strengthening that connection, understanding how the work you're doing today is moving you forward, and just building a relationship with the unknown where you can not let it stop you, not let it rob you of your motivation. It's also really helpful to understand your relationship to risk. Some people really thrive on risk. They thrive on being outside the unknown. A lot of us not so much. And so just understanding your relationship to that risk, to doing work that you don't know will pay off, and adjusting. You can adjust your goals. So you're doing something a little more predictable. But again, you just have to decide what you value more. When you dial in what you value and you work according to that, you are naturally going to be so much more motivated. Number 3, do you need to simplify? Most of us have a preference either for starting projects or finishing projects. Not many of us thrive in the middle of projects, and motivation tends to wane in the middle of projects. So often, many of us will start all these projects when we're feeling really motivated, and then we're trying to move all of them forward. We're not really giving any of them our full attention. And of course, motivation takes a dive because you're in the middle of all these projects. You're not seeing the benefit of any of them yet because nothing's finished. You don't necessarily see results imminent on any of them. And that can really dramatically affect motivation. Of course it does. That's just being human. So by simplifying, by taking a closer look at what is most likely to move the needle forward and focusing on that, moving that forward as much as possible, again, you're going to start seeing results, and that's naturally going to build your motivation. Here's what I want you to focus on is what will naturally boost your motivation, and that tends to be results. So how can you get to those results as quickly as possible? And a lot of times that's just focus and prioritization and minimizing the number of things you're doing so that you're bringing quality over quantity. I also think these days a lot of us are just craving simplicity. I think sometimes we feel this sort of malaise because everything's just so complex. And the reality is life is complex enough. So where can you make your work a little simpler? And I think that alone can just lift the energy of everything that you're doing. When you have the clarity on what you're working toward and how to get there, not just a plan, but understanding exactly how today's action is going to lead you in the direction you want to go, well, letting go of exactly how all the specifics are going to work out, but you're simplifying and you are putting your beautiful energy and attention and focus where it's going to make the biggest difference. You're going to find that your energy and your motivation naturally start increasing. Here's the last thing I want to give you. Take the pressure off. You would be shocked how many times this alone is the key. I think when we're just holding so tightly to outcomes or holding so tightly to our plans, and I'm going to do XYZ on this exact timeline, it's preventing flow. And as soon as we take that pressure off, things start to move without us needing to do any extra work. Trying to force things forward is almost always counterproductive. So take the pressure off yourself. You know how to navigate this. You know how to do this. You've got this.